Hi again, everyone, and welcome to the Mercer County Football Show here on WBCB1490.com with the suddenly taller Rich Fisher. I'm the suddenly shorter Mike Samsel. Thanks so much for joining us for this week's edition. I heard you took a beating last week after our mismatched chairs.
Took a little bit of abuse, yeah, for being about 2 foot shorter than you sitting here. So thank you for giving me a chair back that I can at least be eye level with you.
Taking a look at last week's results in Mercer County. A couple of surprising ones. I would say the most surprising one is Hamilton breaking their 16-game losing streak against Notre Dame.
Yeah, kudos to the Hornets. I mean, last week we talked about Lawrence breaking their big long winning streak. This week, or losing streak. This week Hamilton did likewise. Had lost 14 in a row to Notre Dame, dating back for 16 years. They took a 27-0 win at Monsignor Walter E. Nolan Field on Friday, and that's the first time that Coach Tom Hoagland's ever beaten Notre Dame since taking over in 2001. And you really, the reason we say this is a surprise is you really didn't know what, we know Notre Dame is down this year from graduation losses. You didn't know about Hamilton after losing that first game to Lawrence.
Right.
But Hamilton came right out, got a 78-yard scoring drive on their first possession, and they just went from there. Reggie DeMonch, who's one of the county's best linebackers, was big on offense. He had 3 catches for 86 yards and a TD, rushed 4 times for 68 yards, and Ezekiel Patterson, the quarterback, he was efficient, 5 for 7, 103 yards and a touchdown, and Christopher Charles had a pick 6 for 58 yards. Mm-hmm. So Hamilton put the rest a long time of frustration against the Irish. So good job by Hamilton.
Yeah, congratulations to Tom Hoagland, his first win against Notre Dame since taking over the program back in 2001. A game we had featured for you on the WBCB Sports Network on Friday night was an awful good one. It had Nottingham going over Hopewell 28-22.
And it was also an awful long one, too. 3 hours, about 160 yards of penalties. A lot of guys from Hopewell kept getting taken off the field with injuries. I think they haven't had enough. Hopewell did a nice job. They're coming off a 42-0 loss to Rancogas Valley. They came out and took a 13-0 lead, and things were going good. But Nottingham hung in. They got their running game going a little bit, not a lot. Took a 28-19. Hopewell got a field goal from Robbie Cacciabato, a sophomore that looks like a pretty good kicker. And then they got the ball back, and they started to drive, but then Eric Mitchell's interception clinched the game at the very end. So Nottingham held on, and it was a good win, and it was a really good game. It was very exciting and a lot of back and forth. So just took so long.
It certainly was a long one, but
yeah.
What a great game to watch. And also, Saturday was another great game that we had featured on the WBCB Sports Network. This one was on WBCB1490.com, and it saw victorious Lawrence over Steiner 20-18 in a game that Lawrence came out, had a huge first drive, and then for about 35 minutes, they didn't do much of anything. And then the Cardinals woke back up when they needed it most.
Exactly. I mean, Lawrence came out like that. Lawrence obviously coming off that big win over Hamilton, and they came out with that long drive to start the game. They held Steiner on their first possession, got a long drive. Seemed like they were going to come out and really establish something, and then Steiner's defense really woke up, and it stopped everything that Lawrence tried to do. Build a 19-7 lead during the next 35 minutes. Jordan Goodars was unbelievable. Kid kicked a 45-yard field goal, had a 51-yarder go off the top of the crossbar, which could have won it. But
sure.
I mean, how many times you see a kid even attempt a 51-yarder in high school, let alone make it? But with 3.5 minutes to go, Lawrence just caught fire. Quarterback, I hope I can say his name right, Ryan Calbein. He came up huge. He struggled throughout the game after that first drive, and then he came up huge. He hit Davion Hemingway with a long touchdown pass to get them back in it. They tried the onside kick, didn't get it, but the defense held Steiner on 3 downs. Steiner had the punt, and then Miles Mitchell-White went to work. He returned a punt 26 yards to the Lawrence 46. First play from scrimmage, 54-yard touchdown pass over the middle, and Lawrence wins it. And then Steiner started to drive again, and Dan Totley, who had an outstanding game, and you'll talk about him in a little bit, got the interception to clinch the win for Lawrence. So as you said to me when I walked in, could we say Lawrence is for real? They very well could be at this point.
Well, another team that I think we could say for real is Ewington.
Ewington, yeah.
Ewington's not a town, they're not a team, but Ewing beat Pemberton, and I combined them into one word. I was trying to make a smooth broadcastery transition there, and boy, did it blow up in my face. I'm going to stop talking now. Ewing beat Pemberton 31-14.
Are you the guy who came up with Bradgelina, or whatever the heck it was, with the thing?
I might have done so unintentionally.
Hey, the Blue Devils, Rick Fortenbaugh said it the best in the Trentonian. He wrote that this is the type of signature win that had been missing by the Devils for a while, and they got it convincingly on Friday night, beating Pemberton 31-14. Damian Doggett, we're going to be talking about this guy all year. You talk about multi-purpose. He rushed for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns, threw for 213 yards and 2 more touchdowns, and he had an interception in the end zone to thwart a Pemberton scoring drive. So Damian Doggett was just all over the place again. This was a huge win, big win for the Devils, and now they got to see if they can build on it.
Here on the show where we talk about teams like Ewington, we're presented by the St. Francis Medical Center, your heart hospital in the city of Trenton. We'll be back to take a look at our players of the week and also the 12th Man Touchdown Club honorees after this here on the Mercer County Football Show.
Jerry Blavitt here to tell you about St. Francis Medical Center, the heart hospital in the city of Trenton. St. Francis Medical Center is one of the region's top cardiac care centers, serving all of Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. Their staff of highly trained physicians provide state-of-the-art heart care to patients with cardiovascular disease and pride themselves as being the only regional heart center to offer a full spectrum of individualized services. And Consumer Report ranks St. Francis Medical Center in the top 10 hospitals in New Jersey for safety, and the #1 hospital in Mercer County, St. Francis Medical Center, the Heart Hospital.
Merrill Reese, here to tell you about my good friends at Haldeman Ford Subaru on Route 33 in Hamilton Township. For outstanding sales and service, you can depend on the folks at Haldeman Ford Subaru for the best value on new and pre-owned Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, along with a great selection of value-priced new and pre-owned Subarus. And no one offers the service that Haldeman does in their huge, state-of-the-art service facility. Service so great that many area municipalities and commercial fleets get their service performed by Haldeman Ford Subaru. From Langhorne to Princeton, folks like you to commercial fleets trust the name Haldeman for sales and service. Haldeman Ford Subaru, Route 33 in Hamilton
Welcome back
Township.
to the Mercer County Football Show here on WBCB1490.com with Rich Fisher. I'm Mike Samsel. It is a pleasure to have you along with us. It's time for our Player of the Week segment. So first, let's mention the honorees from the 12th Man Touchdown Club. The offensive back of the week was Isaac Webb, a sophomore wide receiver from Princeton. 6 receptions for 172 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Nice.
The lineman of the week was Jeremy Lockwood from West Windsor, Plainsboro North. Dan Totley was the defensive player of the week, defensive lineman of the week, I should say. No, he was the defensive back of the week.
Yes.
11 tackles and an interception to seal the victory for Totley. Davion Stokes was the defensive lineman from Nottingham, 4 solos, 5 assists, a sack, and a pressure. And Matthew Hunkel from Ewing, the kicker, was the special teams player of the week. 4 for 4 on extra points, 1 of 1 on field goals by connecting on a 24-yarder, and he also averaged 43 yards a punt. So congratulations
And
to
had 2
the
touchbacks.
Oh, and had 2 touchbacks. There you go.
My printer ran out.
Little right in there at the end. So congratulations to all the 12th Man honorees. Fish, I'll let you have the honors first for your team of the week.
All right, team of the week. I got to go with Tom Hoagland and those Hamilton Hornets. Any other week, it would have been Lawrence because that was just an amazing comeback for Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
But we gave it to Lawrence last week, and we gave it to Lawrence because they snapped a long losing streak. So we got to be fair. Got to give it to the Hornets. They came out, snapped a 14-game losing streak to Notre Dame. I know Tommy Hoagland was really, really happy about that. They did it at Notre Dame, and they did it convincingly. So congratulations to the Hornets. You are my team of the week.
And my team of the week is Ewington, who came out with a big victory last week over Pemberton. I love the way Damian Doggett is playing this season. I would have picked him as my player of the week again this week, but Princeton had a huge output. We'll get to them in a second. But I wanted to give Ewing my Team of the Week award because that wasn't just the Damian Doggett coming out and solo-handedly winning that game. That was a full team effort, offense and defense. Ewing has announced that they arrived with the win over Pemberton.
Yeah, that's right. The defense. I mean, Pemberton's got some pretty good offensive players, so
Yeah.
good job by that defense to hold them down.
For the player of the week,
Player of the week. It's not often that we go with a player on a losing team this week, but I gotta go with Robbinsville's linebacker, senior linebacker, Kyle Twomley. What do you hear this? Kyle Twomley, one of three triplets, obviously, three triplets, had 18 tackles, a sack, a recovered fumble, and an interception. And he also played both ways. He carried the ball 13 times for 24 yards. That's just yeoman's work by Kyle Twomley. So great job by him, and he's my player of the week.
I'm one of those typical media members who only gives quarterbacks the credit. Damian Doggett was my player of the week last week. This week, my player of the week is Vince Doran from Princeton. He was outstanding. 12 of 15, 271 yards passing, and 5 touchdowns for the Little Tigers in an outstanding performance.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it really was. That was very impressive.
That's good stuff. Princeton needed a quarterback. They lost David Beamer, and boom, look at this.
They certainly found one. They lost Beamer to Hellstrom, and they gained Doran to Isaac Webb.
Yes.
Exciting times for the Little Tigers. We'll be back with a preview of this week's games coming up here on the Mercer County Football Show, presented by St. Francis Medical Center, your heart hospital in the city of Trenton.
Hello, this is Acting Mercer County Prosecutor Angelo Honorfree, and I hope you're enjoying today's game. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all of our Mercer County teams the best of luck, and I would also like to urge parents to be involved in your children's activities. Urge them to participate in after-school activities, whether it's on the athletic field or in the school play or marching band. Participation in these programs is a great learning experience for your child. Parents, please stay involved. This is your Acting Mercer County Prosecutor Angelo Honorfree, and I hope you enjoy today's
Welcome
game.
back to the Mercer County Football Show here on WBCB1490.com. That's Rich. I'm Mike. We're presented by the St. Francis Medical Center, your heart hospital in the city of Trenton. Going to take a preview of this week's games. Our first game, it's a game we'll have for you here on the WBCB Sports Network. You can hear the game on 107.7 FM and 107.7thebronx.com, beginning with the Trentonian pregame show at 6:45, and it has two teams desperate for a win in their first Capital Division matchup, Notre Dame and Hopewell Valley.
Yeah, Mike, something's got to give here. They're both 0-2. We should mention this is the start of division play, too, in the West Jersey Football Conference. So you got Hopewell 0-2, Notre Dame 0-2. This is a Capital Division game. Hopewell, despite their loss, they had some good things that happened last week. Quarterback Jack Demoreski threw for 240 yards and a touchdown. Tommy Muller caught 7 passes for 155 yards, and he missed some of the game with an injury too. And Elijah Blue Wilmot rushed for 122 yards and scored twice. So Hopewell had a lot of health issues again. They've been banged up. They hope to get a couple guys back this week. I talked to their trainer, Tim Coyne. He said this has been the worst year for injuries that Hopewell's ever had since they started this program. So Notre Dame, they just got to find something positive to build on. They've been outscored 69-0 this year. They only got 212 yards total offense last week against Hamilton. So they need to just find little things within the game to start building on.
Right, Hopewell and Notre Dame again. That game will be on 107.7 FM and 107.7thebronx.com. The game of the week in Mercer County is Nottingham at Ewing. First Valley Division matchup. This should be a great one, no doubt about it.
Yep, 2-0 versus 2-0, and two teams that both of these teams thought they could have good years, and they're starting to have good years. They're living up to it. We talked about Ewing with Doggett, and he's been really a one-man show on offense as far as the statistics go. Nottingham spread it around. Nottingham had 4 different guys score touchdowns last week, so they're getting different guys the ball. Nottingham's offense really hasn't kicked in yet. I mean, they've only rushed for 99 yards the other day, and they passed for 59. Their defense has been interesting. They've given up some big plays, but they've made big plays. Last week they had 6 turnovers. Felix Derry had 2 interceptions, and Kadir Nelson, or Derry Felix, I'm sorry, I screwed his name up. He had 2 interceptions. Kadir Nelson had 2 fumble recoveries. But they haven't come up against a guy like Doggett yet. And I think Doggett is looking at this as a challenge to go against a great defense. Nottingham's defense is looking at this as a challenge to go against a great quarterback. So let's see who wins that battle.
Even though it's an early season matchup, this has potential to be game of the year in Mercer County. It really does.
Yeah, it's always hard to say that when it's early in the season,
Sure.
But you might look back on it and say, that was a game of the year.
All right, next game we have Northern Burlington and the Redbirds of Allentown, who are struggling a little bit, 1-2, but heading into Patriot Division play, things should start to pick up for the Redbirds.
Yeah, 1-2 versus 0-2. Allentown lost 17-10 to the Shawnee last week. That's not a bad loss. Shawnee's a pretty good team. The only thing Allentown, their rushing game, this is going to sound weird because they rushed for 226 yards and Jordan Winston got 149, but they usually put at least 2 guys in 100-yard rushing every week, and nobody else got more than 35 last week. Ricky Mottram, again, The linebacker was everywhere. 15 tackles and a forced fumble. Northern Burlington coming off a 38-0 loss, so Allentown is really looking at this game to get off to a good start in their division.
It really is, and it's funny. I certainly don't want to put any undue pressure on Allentown because there's no doubt they are one of, if not the best football team in the West Jersey Football League. But it gets tough, and I'm sure Jay Graber gets tired of hearing that phrase. That's not a bad loss because. Want to answer that? Or no?
You have my complete attention.
It's not a bad loss, but when you have 3 or 4 not bad losses on the season, then all of a sudden you've got 4 losses on the year. So
Yeah,
I'm sure they
right.
would like to start winning a game like that, and it would be it's going to be a tough matchup against Northern Burlington. But I look for the Redbirds to get back on track. Another game that should be an interesting one. Lawrence 2-0, Hightstown 0-2 on the season. Now the Redbirds got some early season momentum. Can the Cardinals keep it rolling?
Yeah, that's what. Here's the big key to this. This was a huge win for Lawrence to come back like this in the last 3 minutes. They're going against a Hightstown team that's 0-2. Not a lot is expected from Hightstown. Lawrence can't get feeling good about themselves now. They can't walk in and say, "Oh, we're 2-0. We're going to beat Hightstown. They're 0-2." They have to come out and focus on this game like they focus on any other game. And if they do that, they're going to be okay. I mean, Mitchell, White, and Hemingway, they're threats to go all the way whenever they touch the ball. And Ryan Calbine, I mean, the kid made some clutch throws when he had to. So he's got some moxie. He's only a junior. Hightstown's coming off a 33-0 loss. They trailed 7-0 to Princeton at halftime, and then the Little Tigers exploded in the second half. So Lawrence just has to focus on this game, and they should be okay.
West Windsor Plainsboro North takes on Princeton. That game coming up on Friday night. Both teams 1-1 on the season. This is going to be an interesting game because one of these teams is trying to say, hey, we're the top of that second tier, if you will, in Mercer County.
Yeah, it's a Patriot Division opener for both of them. But you can guarantee one thing. Expect a long game. There's going to be a ton of passes in this game.
There sure are.
We talked about Doran and throwing for 271 yards and everything like that. So we talked about him. They also got some balance. Carson Giles rushed for 76 yards. Now you got West Windsor North with Brian Murphy. They're coming off a 41-0 win over West Windsor South. And Murphy's showing that he's the real deal. He went 13 for 22 for 277 yards and 5 touchdowns. Miles Fine Moore had two grabs for 105 yards. Isaiah Miranda, 5 for 84. John Owens, we know all about him, 5 for 62. This is going to be an even-up game, and this could end up being about 38-36 if both these teams throw the ball like they did last week.
Another game we have coming up this week, Robbinsville takes on Bordentown on Friday night. Robbinsville 1-1, Bordentown 0-2. Robbinsville has been incredibly feisty this year. 14-12 win on opening night, 14-13 loss last week. Robbinsville is playing close, Bordentown struggling. Even though Robbinsville's 1-1 and Bordentown's 0-2, Robbinsville has a chance to pull the upset here, and I think you could call it an upset.
Maybe. I guess. I'm not really sure. I mean, Robbinsville, I don't know really much what Bordentown has. I know they don't have a win. Robbinsville's got to win. Robbinsville's played 2 tough games. One by, like you said, 1 by 2, lost by 1, so they keep it close. As we mentioned, Kyle Twomley was everywhere, and his brothers Jared and Taylor Twomley, they chipped in. The 3 Twomleys had a total of 30 tackles. But Robbinsville's got to start running the ball a little better. They only gained 81 yards running the ball. But Bordentown's defense has been porous, to say the least. They've allowed 77 points this year. They've also scored 42 points. So they can put points on the board, but they're giving points up. So if Robbinsville can get its offense going, I expect this to be a good game.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game again, that one on Friday. We move on to the games on Saturday. Now, this is a game we originally had scheduled for the WBCB Sports Network, but we've changed it up a little bit. What we are going to have on Saturday morning, beginning at 11 a.m. on our website, WBCB1490.com, it will be West Windsor Plainsboro South taking on Hamilton. That's our game on Saturday. You can watch it on WBCB1490.com. A game that is being played on Saturday, Rancocas Valley, who is just mowing through everyone, taking on 1-2 Trenton. Trenton, a decent football team, but boy, do they have a tough matchup coming in on Saturday.
Yeah, they sure do. I mean, RV, they had a tough game this past week. They beat Hamilton 15-10, but Hamilton's one of the best teams in the West Jersey Football League.
Right.
So one of the best teams in South Jersey. So, RV grinded it out. Iverson Clement got a fourth-quarter touchdown to win it. Trenton is coming off a really frustrating loss. They lost 15-12 to Eastern. This is an Eastern team that they beat handily last year. Eastern only got 181 yards of offense, but they scored on a 79-yard kickoff return. and then Trenton fumbled at its own 19, and that set up a 1-yard touchdown run for Eastern. So Trenton just shot itself in the foot all game last week. The Tornadoes got 132 rushing yards from Samaj Willis, and they ran for 287 as a team. Now, that's going to be tough to do against Rancocas Valley because, you know, they won 42-0 on opening night, and they're being touted as one of the best in Central Jersey, really, Central, South Jersey, whatever you want to call it. Trenton's got to play a near-perfect game to win this game.
Bounce back week this week is Steiner is taking on Pemberton, both teams in the Patriot Division, and Dan Caruso, as I said, looking for his team to bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, the big question here is how does Steiner come back from such a gut-wrenching loss? I mean, that was shocking. I mean, really, the stunned faces on the Spartans after that game were expected, but you could just tell they were like, what the heck just happened here? Yeah. They need to refocus, and you know what? Dan Caruso is one of those guys. He's a pretty even-keeled guy. I think that he'll get these guys back to focusing on Pemberton. This is a very tough game. It's a Patriot Division opener. When you take away the loss, Steiner did some good things. Jordan Morrison rushed for 118 yards. Kyle Gankowitz has shown to be a pretty efficient quarterback. He was 8 for 13 for 85 yards. Steiner's going to have to worry about Jacoy Redding for Pemberton. He's rushed for 258 yards this season, and he's gained over 6 yards a carry. So Pemberton, as was mentioned, had that one-sided loss to Ewing, so they're going to be a little uppity and wanting to do something. This is going to be another good game. I mean, I think a lot of these games are going to be really good this weekend.
I do. I think we're going to have some good, even matchups this week. West Windsor Plainsboro South takes on Hamilton. Again, that game on our website, WBCB1490.com, beginning with Trentonian pregame show at 10:45 a.m., 11 o'clock is the kickoff. Big question here, is Hamilton going to let down after their win against Notre Dame? If they don't, they should handle West Windsor.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, West Windsor South, they're obviously struggling. The program is really having a tough time right now. Hamilton, you're right. Hamilton they're coming off an immense high of getting that monkey off their back of losing to Notre Dame. It's their first game. I think they are going to bounce back because they lost at home on opening day to Lawrence, and you never want to lose at home, especially on opening day. Now they're back at home. They want to put on a good show in front of the home folk. I mean, obviously, I'm sure some of those people went to Notre Dame Friday night, but still, you're back in your own backyard, and you want to do a good job. I think Hamilton just has to come out and play its game, and you know, I think West Windsor's just got to. We said it earlier about Notre Dame. They just have to do little things, little positive things in the course of a game and build off of that. But Hamilton, Hamilton should get that first home win.
Yeah, that'll be a game again. That's on our website, WBCB1490.com, coming up at 11 a.m. That'll be the broadcast on Saturday, and that'll wrap up this edition of the Mercer County Football Show. Any messages you got before we get out of here?
Well, I didn't get any emails last week about people from defensive stats or anything, so I don't know. We'll say it again. If you have anybody you want to be our players of the week, email richfisher3@aol.com, or what's your address?
msamsel, MSAMSEL at WBCB1490.com.
We know what they did on offense. We know what the skilled players can do on offense, but we don't know a lot of the defensive stats or the linemen or what they're doing. So if you got a guy you want to get some recognition, send us an email. We'll see what we can do.
And if there are any angry Ewing residents, you can send it richfisher3@aol.com. Trust me, he'll make sure I get the messages. We're presented by the St. Francis Medical Center, your heart hospital in the city of Trenton. And until next week, have a great week, everyone, and enjoy your football weekend.